Peace to all my peoples out there in the ethos. You have tuned into the Real HD Show. I'm your host, Vic. You have reached the show, Social Justice Show, where we're on these or any of the airwaves. You're going to find us dealing with the good, the bad, the ugly of our culture, but healing it with what? Healing it with what? Healing it with what? Freedom music. That's right. Freedom music happens 7:30 to 8 o'clock every night on these airwaves where we play that good soulful R&B, jazz, hip hop, all those things to put a battery in your back and give you that motivation you need for speed to make things better. If you have a second half of your day or whatever you're going through, we got you. Come through, rock out with us on the Real HD Show, Freedom Music Moment. But also, before we get started, let's go through the let's do our katas, right? Us like, share, and subscribe. Uh, put on your notifications so every time we have a Real HD show, you too can jump in with us and have a higher discussion. My name is Vic. I'm glad you could join us for the night. One of our sponsors is called Total Package Energy, powders, gels, teas, waters, supplements, all natural, melanated company, Olympic tested, people approved, all kinds of things to keep you fit, trim, ready to go for your second half of your day or to help you avoid that 3 to 5 o'clock crash. Go check them out. Tell them the Real HD Show sent you. Um, we're blasting off to 5 Facebook channels: YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Mob Crush, D Live, Trovo Nation. We are everywhere you want to be. We are the Real HD Show, the higher discussion. If you want to have a higher discussion about some of the things that not just the obvious stuff, but the things that matter most to you in your discourse and in your traverse and in your economics, your household management, as it were. Check out the Real HD Show. Um, we are all set, ready to go, ready to blast off. We're not going to do an elders and ancestors report tonight because we have some really long segments that we want to get to and some critical information that we want to get to you. So if you guys can jump on, we appreciate everybody that was on, everybody that was rocking with us, everybody that's listening. You guys come through. We know people are really dealing with the 7 minute, 3 minute, 7 minute itch thanks to TikTok. They can't stand videos that are long form. I'm not gonna baby you. I'm gonna give it to you real and honest and with integrity and unapologetic. It is the Real HD Show. The higher discussion, not the quick discussion, but the higher discussion. So y'all tap in, y'all get ready, y'all buckle up, because things are gonna get a little bumpy, but exciting and awareness and fulfilling on tonight's episode of the Real HD Show. Glad to have you there. It's prime time with a purpose. Don't get nervous. We are going below the epidermis. That's right. We're getting deep enough to swim in. Bring somebody, share the show. Y'all get on in here. Now let's talk about why we honor MLK today versus on his actual birthday, which is the 15th of January, which is a little wacky, a little weird. And we're going to talk about that, man. Is that part of our aberrant conditioning? Let's us see. But right now, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into something that we all need, something that we all kind of can revolve around, and something that we can all, gain a lot from. And that is our health report. That's right, our AAT report: healthy, wealthier, and wiser. Aero, aqua, terra, anything under the air, land, we will cover in order to make you healthier and more conscious about what's happening out here in these streets, right? Let's cue the music. All right. So we're in an AAT report, our health report on the Real HD Show. We're entering a brand new year, almost done with the first month of the year. That went super fast, right? And we got to make sure that we are accounting for the real wealth, which is our health, right? So, and we've seen how folks just get taken out when they don't do those things. So we want to make sure we're doing it. We want to make sure we're vigilant and aware and moving in the right directions. So I want to feature an article that my wife sent to me, which is really dope. She's always sending me wellness and health articles to do on the show. I love it. Thank you for it, baby. And tonight is no exception. Sent me a really dope article about exercise, and I want to feature that tonight. Um, let's see, what did I label this? Okay, so I was already there. Mhm. Yeah, I was already there. Give me a second, family, to pull this up, and when I do, y'all can come through. Um, no, we don't want video. Okay, so we're gonna get out of that. We'll get into this and make it happen. Appreciate y'all rocking with us. Y'all make sure y'all share the show, like the show. A lot of work goes into these shows. A lot of work and a lot of I have students that help me with these shows. A lot of people send me um, you know, tidbits and things that help me produce the show. So y'all give us a little while to rock out, and we promise we will make it worth your while. So we're still in the middle of an AAT report, healthy, wealthier, and wiser for a brand new you, because we need cell power, and we're going to show this right here. Exercise may be the most potent medical intervention ever known. Now, why that is not new news about exercise being healthy for you, what is news is that it may be the healthiest intervention ever known. Yeah. So I'm gonna pull it up right now. I'm gonna read a little bit from it, um, and then we can get to it. Do it. Run right through it. All right. So this article came out on January 1st of this year, and it says it's been well known for many decades that exercise provides many benefits to our health, but a new scientific consortium is revealing new insights into just how profound exercise can be for the human body. They discussed uh, with a professor of cardiovascular medicine and genetics at Stanford and a newly chaired medicine person for that department. Americans are making New Year's resolutions to exercise more. We know that's typical of most folks. Um, it's known that regular exercise is good for your health, but new evidence reveals that fresh insights into how profound it is benefits for the human body. It says an author of cardiovascular medicine um, recalls exercise as the single most potent medical intervention ever known. Wow. So that's more important than, um, you know, hanging out at your pharmacy all the time. That's it more important than, you know, a lot of the things, a lot of the typical popular things that we think are going to, popping pills and prescriptions and hitting that Robitussin. It says you're undertaking this massive interdisciplinary study to understand how exercise changes the body in some fundamental ways. I mentioned, don't we already know this? I mean, what's the importance of doing so much of a deep dive that you're doing? The response is, well, we've known for maybe 70 years that exercise is one of the most potent interventions known. 50s comparing London bus drivers to London bus driver conductors that lived in the same environment. But one, they had bus drivers who were sitting and the conductors were standing. And the cardiovascular disease rate amongst the was twice that of the conductors. So that means the bus drivers sitting, the sedentary nature of them sitting was twice as bad as the ones that were standing and moving around. So, yes, we have known for 70 years that exercise is really, really good. It says so. The new study has brought together 17 to 18 different groups from across the United States to really study, to build a molecular map of exercise to try to see and work how this intervention that's so available to all of us is the most powerful ever known. Okay. It says one thing that we were really surprised to find out is that they turned into almost different beings when they're exercising. I mean, exercise was that potent. Every single tissue we looked at showed something completely different from before, showed something. This is written a little awkward. It really changed the entire molecular map of the individual organs of the rats in a positive direction. So I guess they were, you know, the rats were their test subjects for this. For example, fat tissue. Another example would be mitochondria, which is the battery of the cells. When we looked at the changes with exercise, we saw changes to those who had the disease and those who didn't. So exercise is quite literally kind of reversing a mirror image in the way that it happens with disease and explaining a little bit of how exercise manages to protect those from those diseases. Yeah, man, powerful stuff. That's to kick off our AAT report. There's a lot here tonight to go over in this AAT report, but that is that one right there. And you know, there's even some studies of how incontinence and ED can be subsided with um, regular exercise, regular maintenance, regular exercise, keeping yourself healthy. Now, if you're a nor'easter and you're facing these 10-degree days like I am, you find it hard to really get that in. Um, and because of the weather the way it is and the degrees and the temperatures and the snow and whatnot, everybody wants to be inside when they choose to do their version of exercise. And clubs and gyms and fitness trainers, they depend on this. You know what I mean? But you could do this in your house. And I don't even mean you need like a Peloton or some sort of aid. You know what I'm saying? You can do this right in your house. Simple routine. There's even a chair workout that's really powerful floating around the internet. I'll bring it Wednesday and I'll show you guys, So all you got to do is get a chair, put the chair up against the wall. You use the inward end of the chair and you put your palms in it and you sit on it and you can do upper body work, lower body work, core work. It's really, really dope. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars in an expensive gym to do these things. Maybe you could take that thousands of dollars and apply it to your diet and your exercise and upgrade and upscale your lifestyle. You know what I mean? So that was the first one that we started showing on our AAT report, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wiser, for a brand new you on the Real HD Show. So I wanted to show you guys something, and this is a little clip of Terrence Howard and Joe Rogan, right? And they're talking about health, right? So we're gonna cue this up real quick, and as soon as it pops up, we can get into it. Um, and it's interesting because it's talking about a lot of health-based supplements that one can take and also some technology that can help you as well. So let's get into this right here. Joe Rogan, Terrence Howard, they're talking about health. They're talking about ways to detox and make yourself better right here on the Real HD Show. We'll bring this up a little bit later when we're having our chats and our discussions because this blends into and bleeds into other things when we start talking about our ARS, which is acute radiation syndrome, and how you can help yourself and prevent those things. We may revisit this video or parts of it to have a deeper dive into that. All right, here we go. Check this out. AAT.
Floating around the internet, listen closely because they let something slip that most people will never catch on to.
Oh my God. So your phone? Yeah, that's my detox thing. I'm supposed to detox right now. how do you detox? You detox on a timer? What do you do?
So when you watch the rest of that clip, he goes on to say how he's on a strict regimen to rid his body of all the chemicals that it's absorbed. On its surface, it might not seem like a big deal, but when those in society with the most money, power, and access to information start doing the same thing, you better pay attention. So what exactly are these guys doing? They're taking things like comfrey to heal their joints, elderberry to fight infection, and this right here for healing their lungs. If you've never heard of this, this is mullein. If you have asthma, bronchitis, COPD, or any other type of respiratory issue, you should be taking this. Here's how it works. It basically acts as Drano for the lungs and flushes out all the mucus. Given how effective it is, why does it seem that only a select few people know about it? And the answer is simple. There's more money to be made selling you over-the-counter medications than natural remedies that you can find in your own backyard.
All right. So we are back. The Real HD Show. That's right. We're in the middle of a AAT report, probably what I would call an extended one, because we're talking about all of those great herbs, elderberry, um, all those wonderful herbs that you just heard, and natural supplements that you just heard in the video. And if you ever listened to the Real HD Show before, you've come on this show and you know how my get down. You know how I introduce you guys to a lot of, you know, herbal supplements, alternative health measures that you can do to make yourself better so you don't have to be slave to the pharmacy, slave to the doctor's office. You could just upgrade your health on your own and keep it pushing, right? So, what's interesting that I found in that video was Terrence Howard, who's, actor extraordinaire, musician, all those good things. He's also a philosopher, and I don't want to call him a metaphysicist, but he delves and he dabbles in the rings of you know alternative education and alternative knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And he had an app on his phone that alarmed him to go and detox. And it doesn't have to be like this major detox, like you got the colostomy bag, or you're doing some sort of fast, or you're doing some sort of anima with the as some sort of professional studio with a specialist doing anima, but probably something low key that he drinks that allows him to just flush his system out, and then as he uses the bathroom, baño, over the course of his day, he's releasing all those toxins that enter his bloodstream, and he looks good for his age, man. He's up there. He's damn near 60. You know what I mean? Let me look him up real quick and see how old Terrence Howard is. Where's my mic so I can just speak into it? Okay, it's not on here. I'll just put this one in. Terrence Howard age. Yeah, so we'll find out. Oh, he's 55. Yeah, so he looks good for 55, man. He looks, he's not young, but you know that because of his body of work. He's been around doing movies forever, doing series forever, acting, doing music, all types of things that he does, philosophy, all kinds of interviews. He's pretty active. So, but he looks great for his age. You know what I mean? He doesn't look, any worse for wear. And I salute that brother and hope that he continues to be healthy, wealthy, and wiser moving forward. But we're going to get into that video a little bit later because there's important things in that video that I want to talk to. And also, I want to get into that a little bit later. We're going to revisit that So just stay tuned for that as we move forward. All right. So here's something I want to talk about because everybody was tripping when it happened. Everybody's calling this man like a Robin Hood. Y'all get in here. Y'all like the show. Y'all share the show. One second. Let me do this real quick. Let me put up the call letters so that everybody watching the show, if y'all want to get in, y'all want to jump in backstage and talk about this. Y'all want to talk about the dude who shot the United Healthcare insurance exec and basically took him out. And he had the bag of monopoly money on him. Prepared to make a big statement about why he did what he did, what he did, and his reasoning. I'm not sure if he had a manifesto or not. It wouldn't shock me if he did. Seems like all these people nowadays are having manifestos that basically, they're on a Horatio tip. They want to leave a trail behind for others to follow as an example of what they feel is important for folks to learn from what they did. And then, of course, they said that he dressed up like a famous, criminal to show that sort of, he was aligned in that philosophy. So if you want to jump on the show, the letters are below. You know what I'm saying? StreamYard.com, 3HC, 5C, 4AZR7. Again, that's StreamYard.com /3HC, 5C, 4AZR7. Left out the A last time. So y'all jump in, man. Y'all get on the stage. Y'all could come here with your avatar. Y'all could come here in audio only. But y'all get in here, man. Let's have a higher discussion. Let's do this. All right. It's a hump day. You know what I'm saying? We were off for ML. A lot of us were off for MLK. So what else you got better to do? Monday Night Football might be on. The playoffs might be on. College football has its championship and probably going on right now. That's going to be going on for the next 2 to 3 hours. So you can catch the second half. Get in here and spin with the Real HD Show. So I want to talk about this dude who killed the United Healthcare executive. Popped him, right? And that's important to get involved with because you want to make sure that, the insurance market affects all of us one way or another, in one fashion or another. And we want to be prepared for, you know, those eventualities. Like, the people in California got the wildfires. And then 3 months before the wildfires, those insurance companies were bailing out with those people. They were gone. They dropped coverages, they dropped payouts, and they're doing that right now one more again. Oh, shoot. You know what? That's my bag. Wow. Wow. Okay. Uh, I'm reloaded. I'm reloaded. So y'all could jump in here. My bag, the mic was off. Wow. Goof on my face. So let's just rehash what we went through already. We went through this article here. You can find how exercise may be the most potent medical intervention ever known. You guys can check that out. That was a very important thing. And now we're getting into, we were in the middle of a AAT health report, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wiser for a Brand New You. And we want to get into another really, really interesting piece about the worker who, not the worker, but the guy who took out the United healthcare president and why he did it and just what was that all about. Okay. So I am searching for this piece. And once I find it, we gonna rock out. Mm-hmm. Just go down for a sec. Mm. Because when I label these things, I don't label them to hide them from myself. But we have a lot of formats on a computer, and when they go from desktop into the algorithm that I'm using now, um, they become kind of lost in the sauce just for a bit, and then I have to take some time and find them. Um, okay, let's see. We got it here. We're doing this. We're doing that. Let's see. I will just go per title and type it in. So that's not it. Let's see. No, that's not it. That's not it. No, no, no. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'll just keyword it into the into Google, and then we'll pop it up and we'll rock out that way. All right. So we'll say United CEO shooting. Oh, you know what it was? That's right. Torian Walker had Torian Walker had wrote. He's a dope columnist, blogger, and activist, and he's on Twitch and Twitter. And y'all can follow him. Real dope. Torian Walker has some interesting stuff that he always puts on his pages. And he was the one that wrote this really dope article on. Um, so it was his blog post. So maybe I can find it that way. Okay. Okay. Yep. Got it. See, I knew it. All right. Here we go. Sorry for the wait, people. It's gonna be worth it. Right. Right. So everybody heard about this dude who started this, who ran up on the health exec, and he's being held as like a Robin Hood of sorts, right? He's being, the high and mighty CEO was was being took out, right? He got taken out because he was doing people dirty, and that's what a lot of people say. And then of course, if you go back in numerous times throughout, even back to the Rockefellers, uh, you know, when Rockefeller changed a lot of the ways that medicine was dealt in the United States in a very insidious and clandestine way to make Americans dependent on the pharmaceuticals industry within the country. Um, and Torian Walker titled this piece called Robin Hood versus Reality. You know what I mean? So we're gonna get into that real quick. And y'all let me know what y'all think at home as I'm going through this. Yep. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all let me know what y'all think about, you know, this piece with the young man and how he took out the CEO of the company, of the insurance company. And what does that mean, and what does that actually say about Americans and what the United States actually values, right? So it says the killing of healthcare exec CEO Brian Thompson and the subsequent folk hero status of an alleged shooter, Luigi Mangione or Mangione, depending on how you want to say it, represent far more than the circumstances of this single act, right? So they're saying that him just killing a dude is not enough, right? It speaks it has a larger message attached. The murder of the healthcare group has been subject to national headlines and national speculation for weeks, even more so than the national manhunt that ended in the arrest of the alleged shooter, the 26-year-old Luigi Mangione, right? Um, we are a nation that makes heroes of anti-heroes, from the myth of Robin Hood to the modern stories of the Avengers, like Dexter and the Punisher. They are comforting tales for people who feel powerless against the economic and political forces that go beyond their control. They feel negatively impact their lives. It's a very seductive idea. We as a society want there to be some sort of final boss, an all powerful villain who engineered a specific pain when algorithms and AI power more of the system than we than we want to acknowledge. You know what I mean? So let's see. There's another part of this that's really important. I wanted to read to you guys. Okay, so it says the shooting has created blowback on many society levels. In a move thought to be connected to heightened public scrutiny of insurance provider practices, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield halted a plan to limit coverage for anesthesia beyond specific time limits, and many high level corporate executives are looking into hiring security details. It's an level of unease mirrored by the economic anxiety of millions of Americans trying to navigate the Byzantine healthcare system. So this, you know, it says no doubt that the reason for the fear is real. Medical debt is the highest cause of bankruptcy in the United States. Over 41% of Americans carry some form of medical debt, a system that makes it hard for its consumer base to survive will eventually collapse. The system is made up of people, and we all contribute to it. Uh, it will it will take people to fix it. Um, it says even the death of Thompson was a tragedy. The children lost a father. Thompson will be replaced, and the United Healthcare system will continue, as will the American healthcare system. Is a that it's a part of. It's also a tragedy that it took this act to force a conversation about American healthcare. But in a society where 4 out of 10 Americans can't cover a $400 medical expense, facts, there needs to be work done to make sure public myths about Robin Hood and private insurance myths about free market take a backseat to ensuring the survival of health, safety, and securing our population. You know what I mean? So, y'all let us know what y'all think about that. I know that was a mouthful. I know I made y'all wait to come back and talk about that. That's what we're here tonight doing. We're here tonight to talk about why do people celebrate MLK's birthday on the 20th if he was born on the 15th. We're gonna get into that a little later. But let's get back to this United Healthcare piece, man. So they're calling this dude like a Robin Hood. They're calling him some sort of savior, some sort of vigilante, and that's part and parcel to the Superman superhero movie industry that has perforated the country for the most part, right? It makes you believe in the hero or the anti-hero. It makes you believe in the villain and the arch villain, and that if you just take out one dude, everything else will make itself okay. When really this is a systematic issue that is happening with healthcare, and because he had that single solitary act. So I put it out to y'all there in the ethos, man. What do y'all think, my wise real HD show crowd? If you take out, is that does that cut off the head of the snake theme and old school metaphor still apply? If you cut off the head of the snake, the body will follow. What if it doesn't? What if the body has been made into a system, that can replicate itself. What do y'all think? Because we have a lot of social inequalities that we're facing, and we have a lot of things that don't suit us the way they should suit us, and they don't serve us, even though we're taxpayers. It doesn't provide for us, even though we have quote unquote rights in this country. Don't ask George Carlin if we have rights, because he got this whole funny bit about it. If y'all want to ever laugh, go look at the George Carlin rights piece. I played that to death on this show. One of my favorite comedy pieces, because not only is it intelligent, but it's funny as hell. Anyway, so what do y'all think? Do y'all think that the dude from Luigi Mangione, do you think he was right to snuff out that United Healthcare worker? Will he make an indelible difference? Will he make a vast difference? Will he change the entire way that people view healthcare simply because he made that grandiose stand? What do y'all think? Let us know in the chat. Let us know where you're at. We will put your comments on the screen. If you want to jump up to be on the stage with me, there's the call letters below. You can get in here. Have no fear. We making it clear. We are on the Real HD Show. The higher discussion. Let's have one, right? So I thought that was powerful, man. And in my opinion, you can't, if you cut off the head of the snake, you better make sure the body ain't moving too. Because if you know anything about bodies that get decapitated, there's an electrical impulse that still survives in the body. And for 30 seconds, that body can still move. You know what I'm saying? Just like if somebody passes away, if anybody has had the unfortunate pleasure of seeing somebody pass away, their body still gives off jerks and automations and movements, and extremities move, toes move, things curl. Their body still feels warm. You think that they're still with you, even though they have passed on, and that's only because of the electrical pulse that still resides within them. So, let us know what you think about it. Do you think that dude was right to take him out? Is there a time to kill? Remember Sam Jackson? Dude raped the daughter. They let him off during the trial. Sam Jackson, decided to take his own matter into his own hands and take dude out, right? Then he had his own murder case that he had to, hear to, right? So, let us know what you guys think. Let us know where you're at with this. I think this is a pivotal conversation. Why? Because a lot of people think that if you cut off the head of the snake, the body will follow. And they think that taking matters into their own hands, or running around half cocked, running around without a plan, running around without forethought or provision or a strategy, that is playing checkers instead of playing chess. That's how I like to say it. That means not being well thought through, that being reactionary, jumping at a response instead of understanding that you got to be planative, thought through, and, to really, if you're going to pull a coup on an existing system of hegemony, you got to be planned to do it. It got to be planned to a T. You have to have contingency plans in case this happens, in case that happens. You got to have an armament, all types of stuff. So if y'all want to talk about it, let's talk about it. What about the martyrdom piece? You're seeing this more and more and more and more in the news, where these white boys are martyring themselves. They're taking one for the team to either pull off a mass murder, to either pull off a massacre, or in this case, just take somebody out. Are we entering a new age of, people doing this, especially white boys who are who feel marginalized, and they feel disenfranchised by the way that the movement in the country, the momentum of the country, that they're not totally have everything under control and regulated and under their power and under their thumb. You know what I mean? And or are they a Manchurian candidate? Meaning, do they have some sort of conditioning that's residing within them that comes from a larger group? and that group just sends the young person out to do their dirty work. Let us know. Put it in the chat. Let us know where you're at. We rocking on the Real HD show. Let's have a higher discussion about it. All right, so you guys can come on at any point and we can review um anything that we covered, whether it was on an AAT report, whether it was on any of the different, you know, segments that we do within the frame of the Real HD show. So now I want to get to a Lit City report. The Lit City report is the wild, the wacky, the wonderful things that keep our world going. And there's a couple of interesting things I want to get into as we talk about this. Um, because I got some perspectives on a couple of things that I think are lit. I think they're lit and I think they deserve the attention that they're going to get. Let's jump into it. Lit City Report, Real HD Show. Let's go. Yeah, man. So we are in the middle, or we're just starting the Real HD Show Lit City Report. And the first thing I want to jump into in this Lit City Report is my man, you know, hope he can get every piece of penny he can get his hands on because he's a really dope hip hop artist. He changed his name from Most Def to Yasin Bey, and he's getting ready to put out a really dope album with Mad Libs. He has a really great album with Talib Kweli, Black Star Part 2. Black Star Part 1 was fire. Check it went down as a legendary album. His first album, Black on Both Sides, went down as a legendary album. And he's an activist, you know, so much so that he had a stand. He protested against something in the middle of Times Square. He got put on a, you know, most wanted list, freed the country, lived in Africa for a while, had some extradition problems even in Africa itself, had to come back here, and I hope that brother is able to rebound and have a fantastic rest of his musical career and journey. But he said something interesting that I want to put on the screen. It's a meme from an interview that he did, and I'm gonna like enlarge the screen. Uh, he has some things to say about positivity in rap music and whether that was important or not. And he says, I don't think we need any more crack commercials. Whoa. Yasin Bey speaks candidly about the harm of negative narratives in hip hop during an extended interview on Drink Champs, which happened to, you know, a little way back. You know what I mean? And he had something interesting to say about that. Now, Drink Champs happened a couple of months ago. I believe it happened sometime last year. You can go back and watch that interview with Dave Chappelle and Talib Kweli. Really dope interview. They did it a little bit differently. It wasn't in the Drink Champs studio. It was at Dave Chappelle's layout, right? And they were up there chopping it up and having a good time. And some candid things were said. And, you know, they need to change. Man, Drink Champs is good, but Nori gotta go, man. He always sounds like he's stumbling, bumbling, you know, as an interviewer, and you know, doesn't really, in my opinion, doesn't really ask intelligent questions. It's this man who's co-hosting the show that always seems to come up with the intelligent questions and commentary. But anyhow, let's get back into what Most Def had to say. Yasin, he said, I don't think we need any more crack commercials. So I think that was tongue in cheek. I think that was metaphor for uh, you know, the influence of gangster rap or bad rap, as I would like to call it, on the hip hop and music, pop culture of it all, and how that's been in play since the early 90s. And it took the conscious music or positive music, as some would say, out of um, being important and being celebrated and being embraced. And then you had to really, really work hard if you wanted to, if you were a talented artist and you were of a conscious leaning, you had to work really, really hard in order to get recognized to maintain a career. And I believe it was um, because they had a meeting, and there's a tape out float, there's a video out floating around with Lazy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony, and he talks about a meeting that happened with mad, record executives in the early '90s, and how they got together and decided that they were going to eliminate certain forms of hip hop music and R&B and promote gangster rap and party music as the alternative and the replacement. And it really hasn't, our people have never been the same ever since. And then, the Jay-Z's were birthed, the Puff Daddies were birthed, and all those other people were birthed out of that subset, out of that meeting, that clandestine meeting that happened. And there's plenty of people. Even Leo Cohen, one of the executives from Def Jam, got on the Breakfast Club and was asked kind of point blank these questions to that very extent. Well, why would you promote gangster rap? Why would you promote, negativity in the music that you're selling to people? And he said, because it sells and he has to feed his family. Wow. That's what the man said. So y'all can go back to the Breakfast Club. I'm not going to show that and get a copyright. I probably already got a copyright this show. But you can go back and watch that Leo Cohen interview on the Breakfast Club. He was very candid about it because he pushed the likes of, a lot of people, a lot of artists that were just about that shoot 'em up, bang, bang, sell drugs, uh, lifestyle, party and bullshit lifestyle. That was that led to a lot of the degradation of our people and a lot of the cultural ineptitude and dysfunction of what our people consider and brought in to be new norms within the culture. You know what I mean? Before that, we were a little more regulated. We had a little bit more integrity. We dealt with things a bit better. We dealt with stress a bit better. And it wasn't everybody running around ready to shoot everybody to get the bag. Family still mattered. Relationships still mattered. A lot of things still mattered. But then when you put this kind of scavenger mentality out there, and you kind of put this mentality out there that, well, as long as I can perform, it's like a performative uh, type of music, right? Or a performative type of luxury lifestyle rap, right? And as long as I can engulf that, as long as I could be a part of that, then I'm valuable. I'm not valuable being me. I'm valuable if I do those things. If I got a car with spinning rims, if I got a pocket full of money, if I got the prettiest girl, if I got I got the nicest drip, fit, all of the trappings, jewels, teeth, all that. The substance is missing, the discipline is missing, the culture is missing, the practicality of what you were doing is missing. And you know what else, man, that they took away when they were doing when they did and they created that is they took away some of the fail safes that hip hop created for itself. Like when hip hop had a problem, folks just settled it by battle rapping. And it showed itself in the Kendrick Lamar Drake situation. How did that end? Well, Kendrick was kicking that ass. Kendrick was mopping the floor with him, Drake, that is, and they had to get corporate execs involved. And because they're both subsidiary, Kendrick Lamar and Drake are on labels that are subsidiaries of Universal Music Group, they made that kind of come to an abrupt halt. Although they're not like us song probably was the song of the year last year. Um, Here's something that I want to talk about when it comes to what he said about Yassine Bey said, we don't need any more crack commercials, right? And I think that is totally fitting. Why do I think it's totally fitting? Because of what I just talked about. You spend a decade or maybe even 20 years embracing, a culture of materialism and scavengerism via materialism, and you look at the shape of the culture. The shape of the culture is way out of whack, way out of focus. We're not really achieving much, and our relationships are bad. All kinds of things went awry when we started to do those type of things. You know what I mean? And we started listening to that. And the crack commercials would be a metaphor for gangster rap, right? Because the crack was a wave that kind of came into the hood, came into the inner cities and all cities in America, really, and just took it over by storm. And if we're promoting gangster rap and violence and materialism, that is a metaphor for how crack took over and became the degradation of the culture, right? But also with this whole, you know, the origins of hip hop piece. Now you'd be dumber than a booger to think that black people didn't invent hip hop. Think that melanated people didn't have everything to do with why hip hop was here. And that the seeds of hip hop weren't around forever and a day. Sammy Davis Jr., the Nicholas Brothers, Cab Calloway, man, so many people. Pygmy Martin, Dolomite, Grace Jones. So many people were already, the Jubilee Brothers, so many people were already rapping, using that style of rap, right? Even breakdancing, like the sock hops. You know, if you look at the very opening scene of Malcolm X, you see all of the twists and turns and athletic things they were doing while they were dancing with one another. So it wasn't just they were slow dancing cheek to cheek. They were getting busy. They left those places, dripping in sweat because they were working it out, right? And as dances evolved from decade to decade, you see them get more physical until we just made an entire art form of called breakdancing, pop locking, and breaking, right? Electric boogie in New York. That's what we used to call it. Where you used to, use your body to break dance, but you were standing and you were doing creative things with your body, right? You know, shout out to River Park Towers, Seatown, Burnside Avenue, Cedric Avenue, Undercliff. Those are the old stomping grounds in the 80s where I used to break dance. You know what I'm saying? I'm aging myself right now. That's cool. But I want to get to this argument about the origins of hip hop. We won't stay here long, but I want to touch on it real quick, right? So you got people coming out saying that they want credit for taking, for starting hip hop. And all of this was predicated by this interview that was done on mainstream media about Caribbean people. And my family's half Caribbean. My grandmother's Trinidadian. So, I ain't gonna hold you on that one, right? But my grandfather's from Florida, so I got the native side and I got the Caribbean side of me. But you know, all in all, what's really important to understand is you know they were trying to take credit for things that were not true. Disco Mario says the same thing to that effect. One of the earliest pioneers of hip hop. Um, there's tons and tons. Tariq Nasheed has a really dope uh documentary called Microphone Check, and he goes into and he interviews the pioneers of hip hop in the 70s, not the 80s, like a lot of people like to think. It's the 70s. Hip hop would have had at least 7 to 8 years before Run DMC, Curtis Blow, and Houdini arrived on the scene and really Salt and Pepper and really commercialized hip hop, right? Where they were touring the world, right? But before that, the Cool Hercs, the Bambadas, the Grandmaster Flashes, the Funky Four Plus One More, Tila Rock, all of those people were in New York, getting it in, making it happen, doing an art form called hip hop, where the DJ was more important. The MC hyped up the DJ, and people danced and bust all types of dances and moves to, the break beats made by the DJs. Yep. Now that doesn't mean that, like we said in our, Kendrick Lamar Drake beef show, right? That our Caribbean brothers and sisters, and by Caribbean I mean Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. It doesn't mean that they didn't contribute in a huge way to hip hop. No, that's not to mean that at all. Of course they did. We'd be dumb to say that. I grew up around Puerto Ricans all my life. You know what I mean? Learned how to salsa, Bros con pollo, all that stuff, platano, all that stuff. We did it all, right? But you know, if you want to go back, the tenets and the origins and the fundamentals of what hip hop was there way before. You know, when you look at some of the performers and what they were doing in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and the 70s, you can see the elements of hip hop presented. But Yassine Bey, Def said no more crack commercials. And the loudest voice dissenting it or being opposite that is a guy by the name of, he calls himself Joey Crack, Fat Joe. And I was going to do a whole show on this, and maybe I will. Maybe I'll get some of y'all in here and we could talk about Joey Crack, right? And this goes back to what I was talking about being a scavenger, right? Because I'm going to say this, man. Don't, hip hop don't need no more crack commercials, right? Agreed. This dude called himself Joey Crack. That was his nickname. And if I'm going to be straight honest with you, this dude wasn't a dope rapper, man. He wasn't. He wasn't a dope MC at all. He was very average. He had a couple of hits. He was down with this crew called Digging in the Crates, Diamond D, Lord Finesse, a bunch of other people, Showbiz and AG. All of them were out of the Bronx, and they called themselves DITC, Digging in the Crates. And he was kind of like a tag along. Nobody really took him seriously. He really didn't have a dope flow. It was only when he formed the Terror Squad with Cuban Link, Big Pun, Remy Ma came a lot later. And Joe was mixed in there. He called himself the leader. Maybe he kind of union and united them all. But you call yourself Joey Crack, and then you want to come back and talk about that's how you regard yourself with the culture as being an MC. But then you want to come back and tell somebody about how the culture was created and and what the culture meant and the standards of the culture. But you calling yourself something that was diametrically opposed to the culture, which was crack. Crack changed the urban culture in New York City forever, if not the country. So why would you run around calling yourself Joey Crack? To get attention. To get attention. It was a moniker to get attention. Look at me. I'm the street dude. I'm calling myself Joey Crack, right? That's my little thing, my little nickname. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here to tell you, the dude wasn't a dope MC. He really didn't. Other than that Lean Back song, he really didn't contribute a whole lot to hip hop that's memorable to me. Where's his legendary works? Where's his classic albums? He really need to shut up and go sit down somewhere. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? The people in his crew that really mattered was Pun and Showbiz and AG, Diamond D, right? Lord Finesse was 5 times the MC that he was, lyrically anyway. Lord Finesse needed some better beats, right? But, we got to be careful, man. We got to be careful of who we getting messaging from. And why that's important? Because, everybody's going crazy over the Snoop Dogg of it all. Everybody's going crazy over the Nelly performing for Trump. And you'll have opportunists. This is a time of opportunists. People could get into that scavenger opportunist energy, man. And Fat Joe has this show out on Showtime, and he's trying to transition from being in the music business to being in the talk business and to being a correspondent. And, it's interesting that whenever they got a bone to pick or they got a product to endorse or something that they're trying to promote so they can make so they can get their own bag up, all of a sudden they're going to throw themselves in the middle of a controversy and have some real crazy things to say, even though they're really not relevant. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's what that dude is, man. He ain't relevant, you know? He mid, man, honestly. Out of all of the old school dudes that are still around making waves, Fat Joe is the middest dude on the block. Yo, y'all could tap in if y'all want. If y'all think Fat Joe is dope, put it in the comments. There's the joint below. We could talk about it. We can have it out. Or if you agree with me, you could jump in and let me know. But I think Yassine Bey is right on it, man. And that's why I think his comment was lit, because he was right. He was right on it. You know what I'm saying? I think his comment was focused, clear, and it sent a real message, even though it was a metaphor. You know what I'm saying? We don't need no more Joey Crack. You need to get up out of here. Go do your little show. Go hire your little celebrity friends, and keep your hands out of the cookie jar. You know what I'm saying? And stop making waves between folks that were all good with each other. You know what I'm saying? Melanated folks, whether you spoke Spanish or you spoke, American, or you spoke Haitian, yo, we were all good with each other. Stop making waves for folks who, you know, didn't need you to make waves. You know what I'm saying? Nobody needed you to do none of that. So we in the middle of a AAT. Oh, I'm sorry, not an AAT. A Lit City report, right? The wacky, the wild, the wonderful things that make our world go round. And I just want to pump this out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna hit you in the head with this. Here we go. Bang bang, right? And what is that? Thanks to my brother Torian Walker once again. Go check out his Twitter page and his blogs. Go give him a like and a share and a heart, and subscribe to what he does. But I want to talk about all these presidents being chummy during Jimmy Carter's funeral and the inauguration of Trump. And here it is right here. It's a big club. The American voting public is fighting a political war with a fanaticism their leaders who started don't have. So, in other words, the leaders that you are fanatical about, that you donated $1 million in like a night, or the Divine Nine is going all out for, or the Yahoos living in middle America going nuts for Trump, they don't share your same enthusiasm. I'm going to finish. Recent events are reminders not to sacrifice yourself to be part of the machine. Wow. Couldn't have said it better. That's why on this show, you'll always hear me say, two wings of the same dirty bird. So in this picture, you see Obama, Trump, and old school Bush yucking it up at a dinner table with their buttered biscuit rolls at the side, ready to go. Michelle didn't want no part of that at the inauguration. I'm not sure if she's here or not. Not important. The important part to see and think about is, why does this picture exist? Why are they in cahoots with each other the way they are? But yet, in the media correspondence, they will tell you that they don't like each other. They will swear to be enemies. They will swear that they can't stand one another, but then they'll yuck it up over some dinner rolls and butter. It's a big club. Two wings of the same dirty bird. You heard it here first on the Real HD Show. Y'all tap in, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think of the big club. And that's why I thought, that was a really dope Lit City report, because that was a lit comment. It's a big club. And there's rules. There's rules to this ish. I wrote me a manual, step-by-step booklet for you to get the game on track, not your wig pushed back. So if you buy wholesale into what these politicians are selling you, they're going to have you planting magic beans in your backyard in the middle of the winter looking for a beanstalk. Facts. They're going to have you doing it. They're going to have you like a chicken with your head cut off. You know what I'm saying? Hold these politicians accountable. Make them work for you. They are public servants. And because of the fanaticism that Brother Torian Walker talks about, we've turned them into A-list celebrities. We turned them into A-list celebrities. Why is George Bush still relevant? He was a failure as a president, just like he was a failure at all those businesses that went defunct in Texas Even the Texas Rangers were losing money. You know what I mean? Before they had A-Rod and Suzuki, right? They were losing money. They were damn near a defunct baseball club run by Bush. And somehow he's still relevant. And then you got Trump, who's the criminal. And by the 14th Amendment, third clause of the 14th Amendment, you could look it up. He's not eligible to be the president right now, but he was sworn in today on MLK's birthday. Wow. Or not birthday, but the how we honor and recognize the MLK birthday and his contributions. So now we can't even concentrate on the super serious and the super bountiful contributions that MLK made today because we're focusing on inaugurations. And whether Snoop Dogg or Nelly, who are both over the hill, I got love for their artistry, but their personal politics, to me, way out of whack. They need to revisit it. They need to open up a book, you know what I'm saying, and read a little bit, get the laws of the country under their belt so they understand what they're taking a stance on and what they're not taking a stance on. Because both these parties were one party called the uh, Democratic Republicans back in the top of the uh, 19th century. And then they split off into two. And now they want to act like they're so diametrically opposed when they were one party back then. And then, of course, they were the party of Frederick Douglass. And then after the GOP took them on because they took on the values of the lost cause, and the GOP took them on and made them a stepchild party to GOP politics and the lost cause of the Southern Confederacy. So all of that is very, very important. Just remember that it's a big club, and whoever's got that weirdo feeling when you walk into one of them rich, super posh country clubs way off in the burbs or in the rural areas, and it's kind of off to the side and valet parking and the whole piece. Not that any of that is bad inherently, but you get that weirdo feeling like one of these kids don't belong, and I might be that person that doesn't belong. Well, this is the club that they promote, and they're basically telling us that we don't belong. Especially after Barry tried to daddy knows best us right before the election happened, when he tried to tell brothers that brothers were failing the community because we didn't want to just blindly vote the way that we were prescribed to. Now, I'm not Democrat or Republican, but I'm not stupid either. And I'm not just going to vote for you because you say I'm supposed to vote for you. I need tangible, substantive things that you're going to promise and that you're going to hold and that you're going to keep, so that once you get in office, my tax dollars support your pledge to be a servant for my community and our interests and needs. And if you're not, then you're not going to get my vote. You know what I'm saying? And they shouldn't get yours either. They should not get yours either. You know what I mean? And then you have Biden, you know what I'm saying? He comes out with his particular speech the other day, right? Presidential address. And he's speaking on oligarchy, right? So there's Biden chopping it up about oligarchy. And if it isn't that the pot calling the kettle black, I'll read a little bit of that caption in case folks can't see it. Joe Biden used his farewell address to the nation Wednesday to warn of an oligarchy of the ultra wealthy taking root in the country, and of a tech industrial complex that is infringing on Americans' right and the future of democracy. Wow. It took you till you was leaving to say that, Joe? And isn't that the pot calling the kettle? For real, for real? Isn't he the pot calling the kettle? because Strom Thurmond and all those Ku Klux Klan people that were in Congress that mentored him, isn't all those conservative folks another form of oligarchy? Don't they want power in the United States? But they just seek it in a really different type of way? You let us know. But let's get to this, man. Let's get to this because this is one of the main things. This is the main thing that I wanted to express to you on the show tonight, right? And I'm a little tired of seeing this because it's very disrespectful, and I really want us to wake up and do better as a community. And there's two instances that I want to talk about um, that I think everybody should be aware of. Okay, one of them is today is how the day that the country and the nation as a whole is forced to recognize MLK, Martin Luther King, right? And his contribution to our life and culture as it is, right? And everybody loves the safe Martin, the we shall overcome Martin, the I have a dream Martin, right? But if you've noticed over the last, and when I grew up, Martin Luther King's birthday was it just came about as a holiday, or it just came about as a recognized, a nationally recognized symbol of American culture, the MLK birthday, right? Honoring it, right? So you had Coca-Cola and you had all these groups, all these commercial groups that used to get behind the birthday of Martin Luther King, celebrate. Then you used to have actually Stevie Wonder made a song about Martin Luther King, Happy Birthday. And then there was also a bunch of artists like We Are the World. They got together and they made a song, Sing Sing Celebrate, for King. And that was a song. Hip hop artists, R&B artists, black artists, they got together, made a song. Sing for King, celebrate. Sing, sing, celebrate. Dope song. Y'all look it up. Back in the day, I would have played it, but I'm gonna get a copyright if I play it. And everybody used to go all out on MLK Day, right? Because we didn't have many um, of our greats honored nationally. He might be the first one, and um, everybody used to get real hyped for it. But as the decades pass, late 90s, 2000s, on and on and on, the enthusiasm started to subside. Like I said earlier, the get the bag culture, the materialism culture, the scavenger culture of pop culture and media made his birthday less and less important and less celebrated. Now you even have some black people who are A-listers, celebrities, or whatever, and they'll come out and they'll speak against it, speak against MLK. They'll say he was a womanizer and this and that and this and that. And they'd rather celebrate the negative parts or what they perceive or what's rumored as the negative parts of Brother Malcolm because he wasn't innocent. He got a lot of crap going on with him. He was boule. You know what I'm saying? There was nothing totally innocent about Brother Malcolm, but his work was really, really fundamental to the life and the liberties that we have right now in this country. Let's not get that twisted. Even if he was propped up there by the powers that be, there's rumors about that as well. But he gave his life for his people. And he recognized that he might be going in the wrong direction and even sought out the help of people that he was diametrically opposed to at one time, which was Brother Malcolm X, right? You know? Brother Shabazz, he sought out brothers and sisters that were fighting for freedom, justice, and equality, wanted to link and unite and make a grand stand for reparations for our folks. But just when those things were happening, the brother gets taken out, right? Him and Malcolm both get taken out in a similar era, of civil rights and Black Power movement. And you could almost say that two of them being assassinated is what led to the Black Power movement because brothers and sisters wasn't having it no more. They were done with that. They were done with just being, test dummies, crash test dummies for white people's aggression, which is what a lot of them had to endure during the civil rights marches and so on and so forth. But here's the main thing I wanted to talk about, right? Was MLK's birthday, right? And I'm gonna remove the call letters because we're almost done. And it's his birthday is January 20. Birthday is January 15th, but we celebrate it on the 20th, or that following Monday of the weekend before after the 15th. Now I got beef with this. I got a problem with it. I got a huge problem with it. Thank you, Mob Crush, for being 2,000 deep watching this. I gotta imagine that there's some brothers and sisters on there. Y'all leave comments, y'all like, subscribe, y'all share the show, y'all share links, share this information. So Martin Luther King born on January 15th, and nationally it's celebrated on the 20th or that particular weekend, right? Problems. That is massive, massive problems with that, right? Why? Because it's not true to the birthday of the brother and what he really meant for the people that he fought for. Because he wasn't just fighting for everybody, he was fighting for his people, fighting for us. He wasn't fighting for everybody. Now, that's a hard pill for people to swallow. This is why they like the I have a dream out, Martin. They don't like the, I might have led my people into a burning building, Martin. Because he came to a lot of, realizations before he passed or was made to pass, right? And if we allow his birthday to be celebrated 5 days later and be totally okay with that, then we're okay with the way that they're rewriting every other part of our history. We need to define ourselves for ourselves and not be defined for or spoken for. We need to define ourselves. That's why I called tonight the KUCHIJAGULAI news, because we need to define ourselves and create our own self-determination. And that's not being self-determined at all. That's letting someone else tell you what's important to you. Martin Luther King was ours. He was our people. He's our folk. He wasn't everybody's folk. He's our folk. He's melanated people folk. He wasn't everybody's folk. Not at all. And I'm not racist when I say that. St. Patrick was y'all folk. St. Patrick was white people folk. Abe Lincoln, white people folk. George Washington, white people folk. See how many of them people get these magnanimous holidays and national recognition? Christopher Columbus, white people folk. Martin Luther King was our folk. And we need to act like it. We need to push. We got the most judges that we've ever had in this country. We got the most elected officials that we've ever had in this country. We got the most melanated people in Congress that we've ever had in this country. But yet things like this still persist. Why are we letting them define what's important and honorable to us? And we're not defining what's memorable and honorable to us. So there was somebody else that was in the news in a similar vein, and he's one of our intellectual and leaders, a giant, a colossal in our community, an ancestor, and none other than Marcus Garvey. And Biden gave him a presidential pardon. So as one of Biden's last executive orders. And to me, I find that really disrespectful and patronizing. Because when he was a young senator or a young congressman, he called black men super predators. Him and Hillary Clinton called black men super predators, beasts that need to be taken out before they take us out. He held ground on he stood his own ground, right? On this level and by this notion. And pardoning a person, a brother of this magnitude that's not even here anymore, that doesn't do anything for us. And why does his pardon matter to us? Should it matter to us? I'll put it out there to the crowd. Does President Biden pardoning Marcus Messiah Garvey even matter? Is it important? Why is it newsworthy? For someone who is so allied with extreme racial groups, is he trying to preserve his legacy as some sort of diversity president or something? I don't get it. Why does his opinion carry any weight with us? He's made his bed. He's made his nasty, disgusting bed with us, and his presidency didn't do anything to rectify that. Not one iota, not in my mind. That's another question we could put out there to the people before we end. Has Biden's presidency persuaded you one iota on his racial Ku Klux Klan, racial extremist leanings that he's had his entire political career? And here's another question. If it wasn't for him running for president and needing black people's vote, do you think he would have changed his stance on racism? Do you think he would have embraced black people the way he quote unquote does right now? If he didn't need black people to vote for him, if he didn't have to win the popular vote, do you think that would have been a thing? And one more thing to ponder on this, right? There's a famous Marcus Garvey quote that says, white people are not, we don't have to worry about white people racism. We should worry about why we don't have our own form of racism and celebrate it. And what I think he meant by that, what I know he meant by that, go check out a good book called Philosophies and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. It's in that book. What he meant by that was, why aren't you centric to you and yours first? There's nothing wrong with embracing other people, but why aren't you centric to you and yours first and foremost? Why are you entertaining all types of communities, all types of people, all types of foo-foo la-la before you are centric, concerned, and focused on yourself, your family, your community, your society first? So so we need to get off that train, that MLK Day train. I'm gonna celebrate him on the 15th. I might have work off on the 20th or that following Monday, but I'm gonna celebrate him on the 15th. And then as far as Garvey will always be in the Mount Rushmore or the Mount Cheops of black folks that have done super duper great work in these continental United States. And what Biden does is not for me. That doesn't matter a hill of beans to me. Should matter a hill of beans to you. Does the African diaspora, does the pan-black world honor, celebrate, and hold dear the contributions of MLK and Marcus Messiah Garvey? Those are the pivotal questions to ask. Sincerely yours, signing off, The Real HD Show. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Put your comments on and turn on all your notifications so every time we have a Real HD Show, you too can jump in and have a higher discussion with us. So with that, I'm going to say peace and y'all walk with power. We out.